The massive alien vessel appeared silently over Seoul without warning. The ship hung in the sky like a metal cloud, blocking the sun and casting shadows across the city. People stopped in the streets, looking up with fear and wonder. Within hours, similar ships appeared above major cities around the world. The Galactic Consortium had arrived. Commander Lee watched from the Korean Space Defense Force headquarters as news reports flooded in. She was tall and confident, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. The president called her directly. "We need someone to represent Korea in the international delegation," he said. "Someone smart and calm. Someone like you, Commander Lee." 3 days later, Lee stood with delegates from 20 countries. They waited in a large conference room at the United Nations building in New York. Heavy security surrounded them. Everyone was nervous. The doors opened. 5 aliens walked in. They looked almost human, but their skin was blue and shiny. They had no hair, and their eyes were large and completely black. The leader stepped forward. "I am Director Tak of the Galactic Consortium," he said in perfect English. His voice was smooth and pleasant. "We have watched your planet for some time. Your species shows potential. We welcome Earth to the galactic community." Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. The world leaders looked both excited and afraid. Director Tak explained that the consortium included 17 different species from across the galaxy. They had formed a peaceful alliance thousands of years ago. Now they wanted Earth to join them. "We come to share knowledge and resources," Tak said, smiling, "to help humanity reach its full potential." The aliens offered amazing gifts. They shared medical technology that could cure cancer. They showed designs for clean energy systems that would end pollution. They promised to help solve hunger and climate change. Most people were thrilled. News channels showed celebrations in cities worldwide. Religious leaders called it a miracle. Scientists were excited to learn new technologies. But Commander Lee was suspicious. At a reception that evening, she stood with Captain Kim, her trusted friend and colleague. Kim was shorter than Lee, with round glasses and a serious face. "They're being too generous," Lee whispered as they watched Tak chatting with world leaders. "Nobody gives away technology this valuable without expecting something in return." Kim nodded slightly. "Did you notice how they keep scanning our mineral deposits during the cultural tours? My team detected unusual energy readings at 3 different sites yesterday." "Keep watching them," Lee said quietly. "Record everything." Over the next few weeks, the aliens set up cultural exchange centers in major cities. They invited scientists and engineers to learn about their technology. They took human delegates on tours of their ships. Everything seemed friendly and open. But Lee's team found strange patterns. The aliens were most interested in areas rich in rare metals. They asked many questions about Earth's mining operations, and sometimes their translator devices made mistakes, revealing words like acquisition and resource extraction. One night, Lee gained access to an alien computer terminal left unattended. She had only 3 minutes before the alien would return. Working quickly, she copied files to a small device she carried. Later, in her private office, Lee reviewed what she had stolen. Most files were encrypted, but she found one document she could read. It was a species assessment report. It classified humans as technically advanced enough for basic labor roles, and Earth as exceptionally resource-rich. Lee called Captain Kim immediately. "They're not here for friendship," she said. "They're planning something else." Kim arrived at her office an hour later with more news. "Our engineers examined that medical device they gave us. There's something strange inside it, some kind of tracking technology. And it's sending data back to their ships." Lee looked out her window at the alien ship hovering over Seoul. Its lights blinked in the night sky, looking less friendly now. "We need to learn everything we can," she said. "Their technology, their weaknesses, their real plans. The world thinks they're saviors, but I think they're something else entirely." "What do we do?" Kim asked. "We prepare," Lee said, her face determined. Quietly, carefully. and we find out what they really want from Earth. Around the world, celebrations continued. But in her small office, Commander Lee began preparing for a very different future than the one the aliens had promised. Commander Lee worked through the night in her small office. For 3 months since the aliens arrived, she had gathered a network of trusted people. Tonight was the night they would act. "Ready?" she asked through her secure phone. "In position," Captain Kim replied from his location inside the main alien cultural center in Seoul. Lee checked her watch. "Begin in 3 minutes." Their plan was simple but dangerous. Kim would create a distraction in the main hall. Meanwhile, a small team of Korean cyber specialists would tap into the alien computer systems. Lee would coordinate everything from her secure location. At exactly midnight, Kim knocked over a display of alien artwork. The pieces crashed to the floor with a loud noise. Alien guards rushed to the scene. In the confusion, a technician named Han slipped into the restricted area. Han connected a special device to the alien computer terminal. It began copying data immediately. Lee watched the progress on her screen. 60 seconds until security systems detect us," whispered the technician in her earpiece. "Keep going," Lee ordered. The download bar filled slowly. Too slowly. Lee felt sweat on her forehead. 30 seconds. The bar reached 90%, then 95%. 10 seconds. "Got it," Han whispered. He disconnected the device and slipped away just as the alien guards returned to their posts. Lee downloaded the stolen files to her secure computer. Most were in alien language, but her team had created translation software based on what they had learned so far. What she found made her stomach drop. Earth was labeled as a Category 3 civilization. The report described humans as technologically developed enough to be useful labor, but not advanced enough to resist integration. Lee found historical records of other planets. The pattern was always the same. First came friendly contact, then technological gifts, then resource assessment. Finally, the consortium would establish military bases and begin taking control of the planet's resources. The native species would be forced to work in mines and factories. 12 other worlds had suffered this fate. None had successfully resisted. Lee called an emergency meeting with her most trusted colleagues. In a secure underground room, she shared what she had learned. "They're not friends," she concluded. "They're invaders. They just haven't started the invasion yet." "What can we do?" asked General Park, an older man with gray hair. "Their technology is far beyond ours." "Maybe not as far as we think," said a woman at the end of the table. Dr. Park was the head of South Korea's Advanced Technology Division. She was small and quiet, but everyone listened when she spoke. She placed an alien device on the table. "This is one of their translation units," she explained. "We've been studying it for weeks." She carefully opened the device, revealing complex circuitry inside. "Their translation devices use quantum principles we've only theorized about. But we've not only understood it, we've improved it." She pulled out another device, similar but slightly different. "This is our version. It's 22% more efficient than theirs, and they don't know we've built it." Lee looked at Dr. Park with new respect. "How did you do this so quickly?" Dr. Park smiled. "Humans are very good at learning. Better than they expected." Similar reports began coming in from around the world. In Japan, scientists had reverse-engineered alien power cells. In Germany, engineers had improved alien materials. In Brazil, researchers had decoded alien communication protocols. Humans were learning alien technology at an incredible speed. Meanwhile, on the main consortium ship orbiting Earth, Director Tak was concerned. He stood before a virtual meeting of the Consortium Council, a group of leaders from all 17 alien species. "The humans are adapting more quickly than we anticipated," he reported. "Their technological absorption rate exceeds any previous Category 3 species we've encountered." The council leader, a tall gray figure, looked unimpressed. "How much have they actually learned?" "They're reverse engineering our gift technology. Some have even made improvements. Another council member laughed. Impossible. They've only had access for 3 months. I've seen the evidence myself, Tak insisted. There's something different about these humans. Perhaps we should delay Phase 2 until we understand them better. The council leader's face hardened. Your concerns are noted but irrelevant. Our resource surveys confirm that Earth has the largest deposits of rare metals we've found in this sector. We need those resources. But if the humans resist, they cannot resist what they cannot detect, interrupted the leader. No Category 3 civilization has ever stopped integration once Phase 2 begins. Proceed as planned. As Tak ended the communication, he felt uneasy. Something about these humans worried him. But orders were orders. Back on Earth, Commander Lee looked at the worried faces around the table. We know their plan now, she said firmly. And knowledge is power. It's time to prepare our defense. 6 months after the aliens arrived, Director Tak made a special announcement on worldwide television. His blue face smiled warmly at the billions of humans watching. The Galactic Consortium is pleased to announce the next phase of our friendship with Earth, he said. We will establish protective outposts in 12 locations around your world. He showed beautiful images of sleek buildings with advanced technology. These facilities will house our military personnel who will protect Earth from dangerous forces in the galaxy. Many threats exist that your species is not yet prepared to face alone. Most people believed him. World leaders nodded and smiled during the announcement. The locations were chosen: the Gobi Desert, the Australian outback, the Amazon basin, and 9 other remote places. But Commander Lee knew the truth. She had been working day and night, gathering evidence and building alliances. Now she had to act quickly. She requested an emergency meeting with President Choi of South Korea and showed him the files she had gathered from the alien database. This isn't protection, Mr. President, she explained. It's invasion. These outposts are actually military bases. The consortium has done this before on 12 other worlds. President Choi looked skeptical. These are serious accusations, Commander. Lee showed him more evidence. Look at these records. On each planet, they established protective outposts first. Within 1 year, they took control of all major resources. The native species became workers in their own mines. The president studied the files carefully. His face grew serious. I need to speak with other world leaders immediately. Within 48 hours, an unprecedented secret meeting took place. Leaders from 20 major nations gathered in a secure underground facility in Switzerland. Commander Lee presented her evidence to all of them. Some didn't believe her at first. The Russian president argued that the aliens had been nothing but helpful. The British Prime Minister worried about losing access to alien medical technology. Then Dr. Park stepped forward. She was nervous but spoke clearly. We don't need their technology anymore, she said. We've studied it, improved it. We can build our own versions now. She demonstrated several devices that humans had reverse-engineered from alien technology. The world leaders were amazed. If we act together, Lee said, we have a chance to remain free. After hours of debate, they'd reached a decision. Earth would resist the consortium's plans. For the first time in human history, every major nation agreed to work together against a common threat. 2 weeks later, the first alien military transport landed in the Gobi Desert. It was a massive ship, larger than a football stadium. Alien soldiers began to exit, carrying strange weapons. But they stopped in surprise. Surrounding them in a wide circle was a combined human defense force. Soldiers from China, Russia, Mongolia, Korea, and 10 other nations stood together, armed and ready. President Choi stepped forward, flanked by other world leaders. Commander Lee stood just behind them, watching carefully. Your deception is exposed, announced President Choi through a translator device built by human engineers. Earth is not your colony. The alien commander laughed, a strange bubbling sound. This is unfortunate. We hoped for peaceful integration. He looked at the human weapons with amusement. Your primitive technology cannot harm our ships. Surrender now, and your species will be treated humanely. President Choi didn't respond. He simply nodded to Commander Lee. Lee spoke into her communication device. Activate Operation Thunderbolt. Across the globe, at exactly the same moment, human engineers activated special weapons. They had built them based on the aliens' own technology, but modified them in ways the aliens hadn't anticipated. The weapons released powerful electromagnetic pulses specifically designed to affect alien systems. The effect was immediate. The alien ship's lights flickered. Their weapons suddenly deactivated. Their communication systems went silent. The alien commander's confident smile disappeared. He tried to contact his ship, but received no response. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Your species doesn't have this technology." "We learn quickly," Commander Lee said simply. More human forces appeared from hidden positions. They carried weapons that combined human and alien technology in new ways. The first shots disabled the aliens' personal shields. The consortium forces retreated in confusion, rushing back to their damaged ship. As they took off, flying unsteadily back to space, Lee could see the shock on their faces through the ship's windows. In orbit, Director Tak received the alarming news. His hand shook as he prepared his report to the Council. "The humans knew our plans," he said. "Somehow, they adapted our technology against us. This has never happened before with any Category 3 civilization. For the first time in centuries, the consortium faced something unexpected. A species that refused to be conquered. On Earth, celebrations began, but Commander Lee didn't join them. She knew this was just the beginning. The consortium would be back, and next time they wouldn't underestimate humans. On the main consortium ship, Director Tak couldn't believe the reports. He slammed his blue fist against the command console, making the holographic displays flicker. "Impossible," he shouted. "How could they have developed countermeasures so quickly? They're just a Category 3 species." His assistant backed away nervously. "The humans appear to learn differently than other species we've encountered. They're adapting our technology in ways we didn't predict." Tak composed himself. "The Council won't accept failure. Prepare the second wave. We'll show these humans what real power looks like." Within days, 50 massive consortium battleships entered Earth's orbit. This force had conquered entire solar systems. Surely it would crush one stubborn planet. The alien ships launched their attacks simultaneously, targeting military bases and power stations around the world. They expected quick surrender. Instead, they met fierce resistance. In Seoul, Professor Song worked in a vast underground laboratory. She was small and quiet, but her mind was brilliant. Scientists from 20 countries worked under her direction. Americans, Russians, Chinese, Iranians, and others who had been enemies just months ago. Now they worked side by side. Professor Song held up a small device. "Look at this," she said to the team. "Their shield technology is impressive but flawed. It relies on consistent energy signatures." She smiled. "Our variable frequency disruptors exploit that predictability. Their shields expect one type of attack, but we give them something different every millisecond." Across the globe, human forces deployed these new weapons. When the alien shields failed, they retreated in confusion. Director Tak was furious. "Adjust the shields. Counter their weapons." But the humans kept changing their approach. When the aliens adapted to one tactic, humans would try something completely different. After 3 weeks of battle, both sides were exhausted. The aliens had superior technology, but humans had numbers and determination. The war reached a stalemate. Commander Lee knew they needed more information to win. "We need to understand their command structure," she told her team. "We need to get inside their flagship." The plan was incredibly dangerous. Lee would leave a small team to infiltrate the consortium's main ship. They would use a captured alien shuttle and fake identification codes. Captain Kim looked worried. "If they catch you, they'll kill you immediately." Lee nodded. "Then we won't get caught." The mission launched during a meteor shower to help hide their approach. Lee's team included 6 specialists: a hacker, a linguist, an engineer, a pilot, a medic, and a combat expert. Each was the best in their field. Surprisingly, they made it onto the flagship without detection. They wore stolen alien environment suits that covered their human features. Moving carefully through the massive ship, they reached the central data core. While the others stood guard, the hacker worked quickly to copy crucial files. Suddenly, alarms blared. "We've been detected," the combat specialist whispered. "Keep working," Lee ordered the hacker. "Everyone else, prepare for extraction." Guards rushed toward their position. The team fought their way back to the shuttle, the hacker clutching the precious data device. 2 team members were injured, but everyone made it aboard. The shuttle escaped just as the flagship's weapons locked on. Back on Earth, the stolen information proved invaluable. Humans now understood the consortium's command structure, communication protocols, and battle strategies. They could anticipate the aliens' next moves. Director Tak noticed something else disturbing about the humans. After each battle, even defeats, they came back stronger and more determined. "They're not following any expected behavioral pattern," he reported to the council. "When we destroy their cities, they don't surrender. They fight harder. They sacrifice individual safety for collective advantage in ways our psychological models can't predict." The council leader looked troubled. "No species has ever resisted this long. Our empire depends on quick subjugation." "There's more," Tak added reluctantly. "We're receiving reports of uprisings on Proxima b and Kepler 22 bits. The conquered species there have heard about Earth's resistance. They're fighting back for the first time in generations." This news shocked the council. The consortium's entire empire was built on the belief that superior technology guaranteed obedience. If that idea was challenged, everything could collapse. On Earth, despite heavy casualties, hope grew stronger. Humans had done what no other species had managed. They had fought the consortium to a standstill. And they weren't finished yet. Commander Lee stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her uniform torn and dirty from her recent mission. "We've proven we can resist," she said firmly. "Now it's time to show them we can win." The war had lasted 2 years. Earth was damaged but not defeated. Humans had lost cities, but aliens had lost ships. Both sides were tired of fighting. Then one day, a message arrived from the consortium's main fleet. They wanted to talk peace. Commander Lee read the message twice to be sure. "They're requesting negotiations," she told the Earth Defense Council. "This is what we've been fighting for." Some leaders were suspicious. "It could be a trap," said the American general. "We should continue fighting until they surrender completely," argued the Russian representative. Lee shook her head. "More fighting means more death on both sides. If they're offering real peace, we should listen." After much debate, Earth agreed to peace talks. Commander Lee would lead the human delegation. The meeting would take place on a neutral space station between Earth and Mars. When Lee's ship docked at the station, she felt strangely calm. She had fought these aliens for 2 years. Now she would talk to them as equals. The meeting room was large and round. The consortium council sat on one side, 7 aliens from different species. Director Tak was among them, looking thinner and tired. The council leader spoke first. He was tall and gray with 4 arms. "We misunderstood your species," he acknowledged, his voice translated by human-made devices. "No Category 3 civilization has ever resisted integration so effectively." Lee looked directly at him. "That was your first mistake," she replied. "Categorizing species based on technological advancement rather than inherent capabilities." The negotiations lasted 3 weeks. Both sides argued hard. The aliens wanted to maintain some control over Earth. Humans demanded complete independence. Finally, they reached agreement. Earth would be recognized as a fully independent world with equal rights in galactic affairs. The consortium would pay for damage done during the war. Most importantly, Earth demanded freedom for 12 other planets that had been conquered by the consortium. The Council leader resisted this last demand. Those worlds are part of our economic system. Freeing them would destabilize the entire consortium. Lee didn't back down. Then perhaps your system needs to change. In the end, the consortium agreed. The treaty was signed. The war was over. Earth had won not just its own freedom, but freedom for others as well. The years that followed brought amazing changes. The consortium transformed into the Galactic Alliance, a more equal organization where different species worked together instead of some ruling others. Humans shared their unique ways of thinking with the galaxy. Other species shared their technologies with Earth. Together, they solved problems none could solve alone. 10 years after first contact, humanity was ready for its greatest achievement. Earth had built its first faster-than-light spaceship. It would officially join the galactic community as explorers, not as conquered people. The ship was called Hope, and Admiral Lee was its commander. She stood on the bridge, looking at the stars through the large view screen. Beside her were her old friends, Captain Kim and Dr. Park, who had fought alongside her during the war. "Preparing for light jump, Admiral," reported the pilot. Lee nodded. She watched as Earth grew smaller on the screen, the beautiful blue planet that had surprised the galaxy with its strength. "They thought they were discovering a resource to exploit," said Lee quietly, watching her homeworld recede. "Instead, they found something they never expected." "What's that?" asked a young ensign standing nearby. He was new to the crew, too young to have fought in the war. Lee smiled. "Equals." The ship's engines hummed as they prepared to jump to light speed. Humans were heading to the stars not as conquerors or slaves, but as partners. The galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Park checked the final calculations. Captain Kim confirmed all systems were ready. Admiral Lee gave the command. "Take us to the stars." The ship leaped forward in a flash of light, carrying humanity into its new future. The end.